Welcome to 100 Yards of Football this morning. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. Today, we got a special history video. It's about the 2001 New England Patriots that started a dynasty in Boston, Mass. The New England Patriots, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. So, one more time, if you like the video, please come in and share it. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. Let me bring up my guest. I've been knowing this young man since 2004. We was once employed at a certain establishment that I'm not going to bring up, but I can tell you our relationship was grown over the years in a very special way. And the thing about it, I call him the young gun because, see, I'm 62 years old, and I don't know his age. I think he's in the 40s, but I'm not going to put it out there. But he's a gentleman that knows basketball here in, here out. But most of us talk to somebody who knows the Boston, Massachusetts sports culture, hands down. This gentleman right here knows it inside out. Let me bring him up, Mr. Elias Peters. And let me get this correct. You're coming out of Miami this morning, correct, sir?
Yeah, came down to support some friends for Pioneer Racing out of Boston, Mass, the marathon. It was a
See
good
what I'm
day
talking?
yesterday.
See what I'm talking about? So this gentleman is going to tell us what was it like being from Boston, seeing the New England Patriots win their first Super Bowl, and then he's going to talk about the whole history of Boston, from the Celtics to the Bruins to the Red Sox. My man, Mr. Elias Peters. And before I bring him up, I want to give a shout out to CVN Sports HQ, also a real upcoming platform out of the Boston, Mass area. So, Mr. Peters, how you doing? And one more thing before I get started, I want to give congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs for making it to Super Bowl 57. But, sir, how you doing this morning?
Oh, it's amazing. Good weather, good racing yesterday. Miami Marathon's a beautiful thing. If you never experienced a marathon, it was like experiencing my first NASCAR. I didn't know it was that big. Growing up in Boston, I never really went to the marathon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, let's talk about the New England Patriots. Things have changed, but let's talk about when they won the first Super Bowl. And generally, when you look at the Patriots football history, what comes to my mind is that you think about the old guys, Jim Nance, John Hanna, Sam the Bam Cunningham, Gino Capoletti, then, of course, the great late Derek Stingley. Um, Tell us when you saw New England win that Super Bowl that day in 2002, led by a young quarterback, 6th-round pick out of the University of Michigan. Did you ever think after that team won the first Super Bowl with him, do you think they was going to win 6 in 18 years?
I don't think anybody did, Vince. And anybody in this world, the atmosphere, anywhere. But, funny story about that. I was actually in the Marine Corps at that time, and I had duty that weekend. So called up a friend of mine that worked at the dentist's office and got my wisdom teeth yanked, all four of them, so I could be put on light duty and watch the game. So I watched
Okay.
the game with a mouthful of gauze. So many feelings in that game. Of course, we won 2017 off Adams' leg, but got to go back all the way back to, man, growing up in Boston and then becoming a Cambridge kid. Immigrant parents, Cape Verdeans, really didn't know too much about football at all. So my first introduction of football was Steve Grogan, maybe one of the first dual threat quarterbacks. Led the league in rushing and passing for several years. And then 1985 came, right? I'm
Yes, sir.
watching the news at 10 before my parents put me off to sleep, right? And they're saying squish the fish. Squish the fish was all you heard that week. Of course, the media was a little more harsh back then. We went on to beat Dan Marino, and then it was bury the Bears. But that week we got buried, right? Tony Easton, I hate to say his name, worst Super Bowl quarterback ever, didn't even complete a pass, right? It was sad, yanked from the game, and then came the logo change in '92. Right, my freshman year of high school, Vince. I thought it was the ugliest thing in the world. Most people did. I'm a freshman in high school health class, Vince. They're asking us, ninth graders, or anybody in New England, but you're coming into ninth grade asking us to make a logo, and there's a lot of great artists there, but why are you coming to high school and asking kids to make a logo of this great supposed to be team that pretty much sucked, you know? And then the logo changed, and then 95 came, Bledsoe came to town, and then some jerk named Brett Favre yanked the Super Bowl from us. So again, there I was, 2 Super Bowls down, pretty much sucked. And, if you go back and you look at the New England historian for sports at that time, right? I had the 80s Celtics, I was pretty much young, but I could pretty much remember that. You could see the greatness everywhere as far as Celtics and Larry Bird and hear the Bill Russell and all the championships, but you hear people talk about that dynasty, and it was just amazing to hear the guys say, and all you heard was the Patriots suck. The Patriots suck. F the Patriots. So there wasn't much you could do right there, especially coming with the greatness. Really no great Patriots at that time, right? I mean, you had big names with Irvin Fryer and all that. Oh, I'm sorry. Hit the button. You had some great names there with Irvin Fryer, Tippett, Hanna. But then remember, we traded Plunkett. I don't mean to step back as I'm going forward, but we drafted number 1. Then he went on to win all these Super Bowls. You heard that from all these guys with an effing mistake, right? Wow. And then 2001 came, and we went on our way to beat Oakland. Of course, that debatable thing everybody likes to debate about the fumble or the forward pass, but overcame that.
Rule.
Yeah, the Tuck rule. There you go. And then we beat Pittsburgh, right? Wow. So you beat Oakland, Pittsburgh, 2 historic teams, right, Vince? And then came the greatest show on turf, Bruce, Hope, Warner, Falk, Pace, Fletcher, and Bly, right? And there you go.
Yes, sir.
The next thing you know, we went in the game on Andy Vinatieri's leg. I remember being in the barracks, knocking furniture over, jumping over furniture, jumping on the catwalk. And it was just amazing. And I think, if I'm correct, Baltimore had won the championship the year before, right?
No, the Rams had won it 2 years earlier.
No, 2 years in a row, right? But Baltimore had won it a couple years before that.
Yeah, Baltimore. I think you're right. Baltimore won it the preceding year with Ray Lewis, correct?
Yeah. And my roommate at the time in the Marine Corps was from Baltimore, and that's all I heard. And I couldn't talk no football with him because we hadn't won anything. Like we always say, we talk championships. But to be a Boston kid, Cambridge kid, to be able to experience that, and it began a lot of talking from me as most New England fans, Vince, to the rest of the world, and to go on and win 12 championships after that as a city, and the Patriots leading the way with 6, and then 4 by the Red Sox, which was great. That was another curse that really knocked the block off. As great as that Patriots championship was in 01, when the Red Sox finally won, we tore the city down. And then, the Celtics of that 07, 08 year when Kevin got in there said, we on top of the world. No greater moment than that, but they only won 1 championship, how great that team was, That just tells you how hard it is to win championships. For that Celtics team only to win 1 championship. And then the Bruins won 1 championship. This year, they're looking on to add another one on. So, and then we went on to win championships in 2 sports some years with the Red Sox and the Patriots, and, the Bruins knocking one in. And like I said, the Celtics knocking one. So that dynasty And you know it's hard. There's kids in Massachusetts in the New England area that just don't know losing until now. And I wouldn't even call it losing because we're still competitive. It's not that Tony Easton, Steve Grogan, Scott Zolak, Patriots. No disrespect to Scott. He's great on the radio in the Boston area, but he sucked as a New England Patriots quarterback. And he'll tell you that. But it's just when it comes to that, Vince, and now you could add that to that rich history of the Celtics, the Bruins, the Red Sox, and I hate to not Denver, Green Bay is not Title Town. Title Town is in Boston, Massachusetts.
I agree. Let me ask you this question: when you look at the history you just gave us about the Patriots in the city and the other sports teams, when you look at Bill Russell, Carl Swinsky, um, Phil Esposito, and Tom Brady, and especially with those other great athletes that I just said and all those other great sports, where you put Tom Brady? Is he number one?
Can't be number one.
And of course, let me throw Larry Bird in there.
I mean, it's always going to be Bill Russell. It's always going to be Bill and Reg in the Boston area. And then we got to say, Esposito, Cam Neely, Bork, those names, and then with the Red Sox and their storied history and the Big Papi and, that classic speech that he did on Boston Marathon and Ted Williams and Carl Yastrzemski. It's just, there's so many names. And where do you put Brady? That's the GOAT in one sport. But in the city, in New England, you're going to hear Russell and Bird a lot more than you hear Tom, even though we love Tom and he did some big things. But what Bill Russell did, Vince, and I'm sure, you was a young kid or up and coming kid then to see what he did and then to deal with civil rights at the same time, it's hard. And then to be active in it at the same time, and then, people taking a poop in your house, breaking into it and stuff, it's hard to stay in a city like that. And people love that. And then there's guys like Paul Pierce who was stabbed and still signed a contract and went on to win a championship, didn't abandon the city like guys tend to do now. I don't mean to say LeBron James, but,
Tell it like it is.
Tom falls in that category. The day he left us, I mean, I love Tom, but I don't love him until he retires and heads to the Hall of Fame at Patriots there. So it's going to be, it's always going to be Russell. It's Russell City. Tom falls somewhere in the middle. Maybe, man, it's so tough.
So when you look at all the great sports fans, and me being from Memphis, Tennessee, the 901, you know how proud I am from my where I'm from. Then you look at LA, look at Philly right now. I know a lot of fans from Philly as I broadcast here out of the Metro Atlanta area. Now they're saying, fly, Eagles, fly. Yeah. Then you got the Yankees, the Giants. But you always told, ever since I've known you, that it's no other fan than the New England fans, the Boston area. So what right now, tell the world here on 100 Yards Football, what make y'all so much special over everybody else?
Knowledge, passion, obsession. It's to the point that, I mean, you got to see what them parades look like, the duck boats. And what makes us, special is we see a lot of them, more than anybody, and like I said, the knowledge and obsession and, it's not easy coming into this town and playing, first of all, as an opposing team, because, you've heard the same, what people say, they're too obsessed, as far as what the fans say to players, which is disrespectful, but it's all passion and obsession, and that's what makes us great. We're just winners at the highest degree. It's just
So
It's
would you
hard to
consider
say.
y'all the number?
It's just Boston strong. That's the best way I could say it. It's just.
So I'm gonna ask you this. So what you're saying that the Boston area and the New England area, what you said from a sports perspective, y'all stronger than where I'm from in the South in college football?
I mean, talking professional sports, Vince. Come on. BC just sharing that national title, but we're not gonna get into that right there. Um, but as far as professional sports, Vince, all the four major sports that I talked about, even the MLS Revolution too's had some good years themselves, but there's nothing like professional sports. That's this the money maker, even with the NIL and it's when you're title town like we are, 6 championships right there, right?
Yes, sir.
And as far as football in the South, y'all obsessed with that. But here, we're obsessed with professional sports and it's live or die. I was on the phone the other day during the Celtics game with the Lakers. And we started losing. The person said, I got to get the hell off the phone with you. We're losing. It's that obsessing. Won't talk the rest of the game. So to compare it to the South in football, man, New England sports. I mean, the South doesn't football in the South. I'm gonna say it doesn't compare. I'm be a jerk from Boston, crack that Samuel Adams open, and we're the greatest sports city, Vince. And I
As
say
we
that
in the
being a Boston fan, I said that very cocky.
You always have. One thing I respect about you, my brother, you always been very, very brutally honest. And you don't care where you at, you don't care who you with, you're gonna speak what's on your mind. I want the people to know me and this young man were part of another sports identity. I'm not gonna put the name out there, but I seen this young man at a young age. We was in this station, and that was a gentleman by the name of Cecil Felder talking baseball. And that became a debate. And the station got quiet. But there was one person that was standing toe to toe with Mr. Felder, telling him about the Boston Red Sox history and compared it to Mr. Fielder's career. It was something that if you had to make CTV, you would enjoy every moment of it.
That was
So
a big guy too.
yeah, that's another. Can we say he about 6'4", 6'5"?
It's a big guy. You gotta know you.
But it's very special to have you on today, man, and talk about just everything that goes in the Boston scene. And right quick, I want you to tell you part of a new endeavor with your cousin. Tell the people out here on 100 Yards Football what CVN Sports HQ is doing right now.
CVN is basically Cape Verdean network. Cape Verde is a small islands on the west coast of Africa, just bringing news within the United States, all over the world, and in Cape Verde to basically the public. And we got different avenues. Sports, politics. It's up and coming, and it's with a lot of Cape Verdeans being around the world, everybody's probably gonna be like, "What the hell is that, Vince?" You're probably gonna get asked that a million times, but
Tell the people out there some of the famous athletes as Cape Verdeans.
some of Dana Barros, Ryan Gomes, Walter Virus that the Atlanta Hawks drafted a couple years ago. Wow, this as far as basketball, that's about it. Davy Lopes,
LA Dodgers.
yeah, man, Fonts that coached Detroit Lions with Barry Sanders.
Wayne Fonts?
Wayne Fonts.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Man, what's his name? Cooper that played for the San Diego Chargers. I want to say that's his name. Cooper, but there's a lot of other athletes, But then we had the Tavares brothers, Vince, that you jammed to. There's Leanna Horn, Left Eye, Amber Rose. Name
Okay.
goes on and on. We just bringing influence to the rest of the world through our culture, politics, and just being something special.
Okay, final words here on 100 Yards Football. You have the floor, Mr. Peters. Right quick on your quick observation on the two teams that are going to play in Super Bowl 57, Philadelphia and Kansas City.
Oh, it's going to be a tough one. That Philly team looks tough to beat right now. Very tough to beat. That RPO, Jalen Hurts. I see the Philadelphia winning the game 28-24.
Okay.
24. But
and then take us home, your final words about today in your beautiful city, Boston, Mass. Give us your final words.
Bleep the Yankees.
Say that one more time, sir.
Bleep the Yankees.
That's your final words here on 100 Yards of Football.
God bless.
My final words, I want to say thank you to Mr. Elias Peters coming live to us from Miami, Florida. And thank you to everybody that supported 100 Yards of Football. And thank you to all the platforms that we own, Believe, Spotify, and Apple. And to our producer, Mr. Jeremiah Daniel Long. I would not be where I'm at. I'm very blessed to have him to be part of a guy that handles all the production here with our social media. And to the people that's been associated with 100 Yards Football over the last 2 years, Mr. Ronnie Keebler, Mr. Bobby Butler, first-round draft pick of the Atlanta Falcons, 1981 Florida State great, and Mr. Logan Landis. I want to say thank you, man, if you're watching us today. And to Mark Bass out of Lufkin, Texas, thank you for your support. We're very blessed here at 100 Yards Football. My final words about the city of Boston and the New England Patriots of 2001, much respect. And I hate to say this because I know he's going to hold this against me, the gentleman in front of me. They might be the sports town right now that's going real strong. They've done a lot of things in the National Football League, 6 championships in 18 years. That's special. And I think Bill Belichick is the greatest coach. So I'm going to end it with this on 100 Yards of Football. Shout, shout, let it all out. I'm still in the house. Thank you for watching 100 Yards of Football this morning here on 100 Yards Football. God bless and thank you.